Welcome to Eli's Family Kitchen, everyone. My name is Lynn, and today I am going to make a classic Cantonese dish, steamed pork ribs with fermented black beans. It is super delicious, but also really easy to make. It's a traditional Cantonese dish that is very common in the Canton region of China. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's talk about the pork ribs and the cut that we need to make this dish. What I have here is about a pound of pork ribs that has already been cut across. You can see the bones here. It's been cut into a cross section into really small pieces, and we're going to need to cut this further in between each bone into small pieces so that we can steam it. So when you eat it, you're gonna pick up just one small piece of the pork, and that's the traditional way to make it. Now, as a point of reference, when you buy ribs in the supermarket, you don't always find it this way because this is most commonly found in Asian supermarkets. If you can't find this cut already like this, then what you want to do is to take a whole rack of ribs and have your butcher cut it like this across, so that you can get like 3 or 4 long slices out of this, and then you can then cut it in between each rib bone to get that small pieces that we need for this dish. Now let's take a look at the seasonings we need. I have here 2 teaspoons of potato starch. You can also use cornstarch, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and a 1/4 teaspoon of white pepper, 1 tablespoon of regular soy sauce, not low sodium. If you are using low sodium soy sauce, then add a little bit more salt. 2 teaspoons of finely minced garlic and 2 teaspoons of finely minced ginger. And finally, 2 teaspoonfuls of fermented black beans. This is the star ingredient, and that's the ingredient that gives the dish its flavor. We're going to need to rinse this and also mince this as well. For serving, we're going to need some green onions, and this last one is optional. This is minced serrano peppers. If you don't like spicy, you can definitely leave this out. To prepare the meat, we're going to need to rinse it and dry it, and then cut it in between each rib bone. Now that it's washed, we're going to dry it with paper towel. And then we're going to cut this into small pieces in between the rib bones. You can cut them into smaller pieces if you want, like this. So you get a little bit of, piece of meat and a piece with bones. Or you can cut them into, just in between each rib bone, you end up with a little bit bigger pieces that has plenty of meat on it. Cut it according to your preference. We've finished cutting the meat, and we're going to need a heat-proof rimmed bowl because we're going to steam the pork ribs inside the bowl. You can use a porcelain or any kind of ceramic bowl, or I'm using a traditional aluminum bowl that's heat-proof. You can use any kind of heat-proof container. Just remember, it needs to have a rim because the steaming process is going to make a sauce on the dish. So you want to make sure that the sauce doesn't drip out. Okay. Next, we're going to prepare the black beans. The black beans are dry, so we're going to rinse this. I'm using warm water. Just rinse this and wash it off a little bit. and then drain the water. Be very careful because they're small and they can slip through your fingers easily. And then we're going to chop this really fine. You can use more or less of the black beans if you like. If you want a more stronger black bean flavor, then add a little bit more black beans to it. And if you like a very mild flavor, then of course you can use less. Okay, now that this is all done, all minced up, we're going to put it right onto the pork ribs. And then we're going to add all the seasonings in it. It doesn't matter in what order you add it, because we're going to give it a hand in there and mix it up very well. After you mix it evenly, you want to spread it evenly in the plate just to ensure that when you steam it, it's going to cook evenly. And we're going to steam this on high heat for 20 minutes. So boil the water first and then put it in the steamer, and then you cook it for 20 minutes. I'm going to steam in a wok. So I have some water in the wok here. I'm going to put a steamer tray over the wok. You can use any kind of steamer basket that you have, or any kind of preferred steaming equipment that you have. You want to make sure that the water is boiling when you put the pork inside, so we're going to boil this water first. The water is boiling, so let's put the pork in. Cover it 20 minutes. Okay, the pork is ready. Let's check it out. Be very careful when you remove it. I'm using some paper towel here. And I'm going to make sure you're not burning yourself. Okay, I'm going to put it on the oven mitt here. In China, this is traditionally served over rice as a complete meal. So I have some steamed jasmine rice here. I'm just going to spoon some of that. Make sure you not only get the meat, but also get some of the sauce. You see that sauce? It's naturally created during the steaming process. And then finish off with a little bit of green onions. And if you like it, a little bit of serrano peppers. There you have it. Let's take a bite. I'm gonna get a little piece of pork and then a little bit of rice and jalapeno and serrano peppers. The pork is juicy, it's tender, and it's so flavorful. So good over rice. You gotta try this. Well, thanks for watching Eli's Family Kitchen. I'll see you next time.